My name is Hannah Ellis-Ryan. I am an actor and I also produce local theatre, and I'm part of one of the 3 founders of Elysium Theatre Company. Desdemona is a young, very privileged woman who has had a very lovely life with a father who adores her and lots of suitors, and her path has probably been laid out quite nice and easily for her, but she rejects that path and she instead opts for this real overwhelming love match with someone who is not like her at all and could not have had more of a different life experience. But unfortunately for her, this huge gamble and this huge risk that she takes really blows up in her face, and as she says, "'Tis meet I should be used so, very meet." She unfortunately takes this huge risk, but it doesn't work out for her, and her naivety and her sort of blind faith that she can handle herself and doesn't really come to pass. I think what drives Desdemona is a sense of goodness and justice. She believes she has like a power to make things good and right. She believes in doing the right thing. Her religion is a huge driving force for her as well. Her belief that things can be good and that she has a power to fix things and make things better. There's a lot of things I like about Desdemona. I like that she speaks up for herself when she can. I like that she is contradictory. Any good character is a contradiction like real human beings are. And I like that she strives for progressiveness. She's a very progressive woman and she believes in seeing things in her own way and not just the way that society tells her that she ought to. She paves her own path. There's a lot to like about Desdemona. The rub. No, this is the meat on the bone, really, because it's hard to say that you don't like people's weakness because we're all weak and we all have weaknesses, but once Desdemona's world is shattered, which would be when Othello begins to display abusive symptoms and begins to behave abusively towards her, her reaction is to sort of go very naive and go very sort of childlike and revert to like a real innocence. There's not a huge amount of fight from her. She tries to plead with people she thinks might have the power to change Othello's mind. She tries to rationalize with Othello himself. I think the way she speaks, she's very articulate and she can reason in her own mind and try to appeal to people's logic. But in terms of her actual fight, I always feel there's a beautiful scene, the willow scene we call it, where she speaks with Emilia about the world and women and what women are capable of. And, you always think that's just the moment there could be an alternative ending because she sees her death, like she knows that it's imminent. There's a feeling that she knows this is coming. And you just think, babes, pack your bags. You can pack your bags. You can run away with Rodrigo or whatever. But she doesn't do that. She kind of commits to her fate, I feel. And that is hard to reconcile with, but as we say, like all great characters, she's not perfect. The challenges of playing Desdemona mainly sit in our modern setting that we've chosen. I think if you put these female characters in a modern setting, it opens up a lot of wormholes of, for example, Desdemona speaks about that she kind of genuinely believes she can't imagine that a woman might cheat. She can't really grasp that. Whereas at the beginning of the play, she shows herself as someone who can live in defying, a male presence. She defies her father at the very beginning, so she's set up in a certain kind of way. And I think the challenge is reconciling Act 1 Desdemona with Act 2 Desdemona, which, as I say, I've done through basically before abuse and after abuse, and the idea of being someone who's never really had to struggle. She's never really had challenges and she's been able to just kind of go through life and do exactly as she pleases. And then when things very dramatically do not go her way, I'm quite into clowning and clown work as an actor, and there's something we say about clowns where I go, this is the person you were before you realised the world could hurt you. And I think that is really true for Desdemona. She's, in Act 1, she's someone who doesn't really know how the world can hurt her yet. And then when she gets that first exposure to how horrific things can really be, she really regresses, you know? So I think it's that challenge of trying to marry these two people in the same 3 hours. I really feel the reward of, you know, seeing women in the audience and feeling like that responsibility and that gravity of going, as someone might have been hit by a partner, someone might have been screamed at, yelled at, gaslit, lied to, been accused of things they didn't do, and being able to even just bring some dignity to that situation and trying to represent the tragedy of that, I actually have found more rewarding than I was anticipating. And especially as we've had schools and young people in, you know, there's moments as an actor, you know, we get to kind of look out at the audience, and when I do that and I see like young women in the audience, you think, I want them to know that this is not okay. Like, I feel that responsibility, and that has been more rewarding than I anticipated. I just really love playing Shakespeare, so for me it just feels like it's just a, you know, like you're like a bud opening or something. It's like you get to use your full arsenal as an actor. You get to really unlock every skerrick of training, articulation, projection, flow. You know, it's such a joy to get to do. I suppose the challenge is that you can't be complacent. Like, the challenge with playing Shakespeare is you need to be absolutely on it. You can't get away with not getting enough sleep, not eating right, not kind of looking after yourself. You've got to be like a force, really, especially when you're doing these like big, long thoughts, big, long monologues. You know, it takes a lot of technique to really deliver that in a way that the audience might even not understand why it lands so well, but it will be landing because you're committing to the technique, you know, and that in itself is a huge challenge, but it's one that, you know, any actor would be like, oh, great. That we get to go to the full depths of human emotions and the full scope of what can happen to human beings. And of course we act because we like escapism and we like to play these other people and step out of ourselves. And there's nothing like getting to do that with Shakespeare, because you're playing people who go through such intense experiences, you know, life and death stakes. And a lot of modern plays, you just not, you know, you might do a modern play about sitting at a bus stop with someone, and the biggest thing that happens is that they realize they have someone in common. You know, with Shakespeare, you are always dealing with like the big life and death stakes, and that is very rewarding.